Hi, Kelly. Um, just going to have confirmation class here, God willing, here in about 10 minutes. We're going to be watching a video, and if it's harder watching that video over this, you will be able to get it on YouTube. It's actually going to be excerpts from the movie The Ten Commandments. You should be able to find that if you'd like on YouTube. And we're going to watch probably about 20 minutes of that. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Well, hello there. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. That looks good.
Yeah.
Is it a smoothie?
Yeah, it's a really good smoothie.
Where'd you get it at?
McDonald's from there.
The other girls should be getting here, so we got about 7 minutes yet.
Okay. You're here. Yeah. So, where's the where's your good name with D? Oh, Keegan. Don't tell Mom and Chief this or I'll slap you silly. I'm not going to be with her anymore. Because I threw one of my son's toys. Why? I don't know. I don't know what's going on back then. It's in the past, man. Yeah, you're like, no, I'm not. No, so I told my teacher, I said, so she's a Karen, you know. And I told her, I haven't done before. I went to her and said, so one of my lessons is missing. She's like, well, you have to get it done in order to go to the party. And I'm like, okay, but I brought it home. She's like, what'd you do? I was like, I threw it away. She says, why did you throw it away? I said, because it was a good grade. No, I don't think I'm going to the movie. Plus, I don't want to be correct. The other one is just also in the past, and I completely forgot.
Can I tell you something what happened? Okay, so in class, social studies, we were playing Uno because people had their work done, ideas and like, do their work. And, Jacob, in our class, okay, he kept farting in social studies, and I kept burping, and Braxton, he was like, he keeps farting and she keeps burping, and Jacob was like, wonder what the baby will make, and I'm like, what? Whoa there. I'm like, yeah. So you guys went to their school today?
Stop waking me up.
I got out early. I go to the dentist.
I hate the dentist.
Are you guys done with basketball? Yeah. Did you? Last night I got a concussion, so I didn't pick up playing for a couple days then. And then we had so I called her up and asked her if she's like, oh wow. But the bad part was my wrist was but scared out, I didn't see it. She was running around the car and I was like, supposed to be happy. And I was going to do the ring. She suddenly stopped. I tripped over her leg and went flying. Everyone says, don't go fly. Then it crashed. Oh no. And somebody crashes. Then dead. I hate it.
You have all these Karens. Like,
Number 24. You know her?
Okay.
You want those?
So, her.
Yeah.
Because they have a little squishy nose.
Yeah. But what was I talking about again?
About, how she's a Karen. My favorite.
She says she in social studies there's this little worker and she clicks my head and she's like, look at I can fly and like Jonathan and it goes like this. She saw me last night. I flew like a whole foot. Whole foot. That is funny.
So, Keegan, it's okay because, so I will be alone when, I'm sitting in front of the movie. Plus, I don't want to do anything anyways. Totally leaving for a game, I guess. And so, I think Emma's going to get Harley. It's great because I'm like a couple or something. I don't know. And then Daisha's not going because she takes naps in Mrs. Demers' class, aka Karen's class. Justin just doesn't show up to school. He's been gone for like 2 weeks now.
Say what I'm
He had influenza B. Gee. So it started out as a flu, and he kept coming to school because he was like, oh, it's just a cold. I have to do my homework. And when he found out he had influenza B, he had to stay home from school. And Karen, she's racist to him, so he's the only person of color in our class, and he's the only one who gets yelled at.
Oh wow.
And I'm the only girl who gets yelled at.
Emily hates Justin's sister.
I'm gonna go get a drink of water from the sink.
You still got strep?
No, I don't have strep. It was negative.
Oh, our school's very hard to die.
Where'd you get that from?
Cup.
Yeah, it's cool.
Emily got it from
Oh, okay.
at school. If it's going to be an auction with fake
An auction with fake money. Those are the best kind.
but you have to earn money by reading. One time, someone he was like $2,000 from reading.
Your cheeks are all rosy.
He doesn't watch it.
I was just drinking from the sink, like full on face in the sink.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Whatever works. Whatever works.
I usually cut my hand and just go. Breath loss.
Whatever works. I can't say I haven't done that, so.
I was gonna tell you something, but oh yeah. So apparently Christmas is next Monday.
Okay, yeah,
I
apparently.
just found that out yesterday. Because I came to school, I was like, I'm so excited next Monday. Before I go to bed, I can turn off my alarm on my phone and sleep in. Someone's like, yeah, it's all for Christmas. I was like, she's like, you know that? No. I don't pay attention to dates.
I would, I'd make a blonde joke, but you're not even blonde.
Oh, our coach in volleyball, she always called someone that wasn't blonde. Not really called, like, pretty. But,
All my nieces are blonde. And I'd like to tease them about that.
Christmas, I can't wait to sleep in.
Yeah. Yeah, Christmas is coming, so you didn't even know, no Christmas list or
No,
anything, or?
Okay, everything I asked for this year, just like, there's it. So I've asked for 5 things this year. No, I've asked for way more than that. A few more things. Everything I asked for my birthday, and for Christmas I asked for my asked for. There's nothing else I can think of that I want.
You're pretty much like my daughter.
Because I got these 2 books. I know, I'm surprised. I got 2 books.
That you're just like my daughter. In fact, I got her, probably the biggest present I got her is a gift card to Barnes and Noble. That's a big bookstore in Sioux Falls, so it's a national bookstore. You go in there and you pretty much find any books you want.
It's so the one I asked for is actually a graphic novel series, and it's actually a series of 5 at the moment, and there's gonna be a 6th one soon, like 2025. And so I asked for the first 2, and then I got those for my grandma Amy. Over the weekend last weekend, we celebrated early Christmas because our uncle Tony was moving to Maine.
Oh,
So then, and then
I forgot about that. He told me. I'd seen him not too long ago. He told me he was moving out there.
yeah, now there's a lady out there too. Very nice. So.
I kind of figured that, but I didn't want to give him. I didn't want to tease him and give him a hard time about it and then have it not be true.
But yeah, so I got the first 2 books from in the series, and then so then like 2 nights after, I was like, Shay, can you get me this other one? And so I searched the book, and he's like, okay, I'll order it. He ordered it, and it was like the paper one. It wasn't hardcover, and I was like, make sure you got hardcover. He's like, I got the paper one. I was like, no, it has to be hardcover. He said, why? I said, because the other 2 are hardcover. It's gonna stress me out, man. It's gonna stress me out. He says, okay, I'll change it to hardcover.
Give a couple of minutes in here to see if Katie shows up.
I saw the window store, and I thought I saw her dad's picture.
Yeah, and they could be getting something.
okay, so I didn't eat anything for lunch. I only had 5 candy canes, but I also had.
Oh. I had a taco. Was it council?
Now, if you go into McDonald's in winter, you either have to order at the kiosk or order off your phone.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can get your food inside now.
Are they like removing the counters or?
I don't know. Well, you know what? They're not that. They probably will.
Well, my dad and I can leave them in it.
Well, I have to lunch and we didn't go to the we went a different day. We used to go. Oh, damn it.
All I had for lunch was 7 chicken nuggets on 2 different ones. I had peaches, a cup of spoiled milk dumped on me here. Still waiting for my apology there. No, she sat right on the corner and tripped and dumped it down my coat.
No, her cup was like unzipped and
No,
You know what? I'm gonna get us there. We're gonna take about 20-25 minutes to start out. Let's turn to lesson 11. Okay, lesson 11, page 40.
oh, I need a pencil.
Okay. Yes, please. We're going to continue actually with the story of Joseph's family. Okay? With Joseph's family, remember we left off, just to give you a little bit idea where we left off, and Okay, so well, to just give you kind of where we had Joseph's brothers, and they come to Egypt. Joseph, and God used that whole situation to save Joseph's family. We learned a few things there about God using, even in this world, using evil that other people do, and uses that for the good of those who love him, for his own people. He saved Joseph's family. We also learned a lesson there about forgiveness. Maybe this would be a good thing to talk about. We see Joseph forgave his brothers. You know, his brothers had been pretty nasty to him, right? You know, they sold him into slavery. They were talking about killing him. 14, 15 years went by, and you know they didn't bother to look for him or anything. Joseph, of course, Joseph wasn't perfect either. Remember we talked about that? Joseph kind of liked to be a little bit or a lot arrogant with his brothers, the dreams he was having, you know, sun, moon, and 11 stars bowing down to him. Even Joseph's parents got a little bit upset with him with that. But the point is, maybe two more things to look at before we move on. One is when Joseph's brothers show up, remember their dad sends them to Egypt to get the food. Joseph recognizes his brothers, but they don't recognize him. And then Joseph starts doing some stuff that seems, I wouldn't say weird, but it almost seems like Joseph is trying to get even with his brothers. You know, first he accuses them of being spies. Then he puts one of them in prison. The one he puts in prison was the one who had the bright idea to throw him into the dry well. Then he lets them go back, and he sends all their money back with them. They come back the second time with Benjamin. They're going to leave. Remember, Benjamin was his full brother, and they're leaving. He puts his silver cup into Benjamin's sack, and then accuses them of being a thief, and he's going to throw him in prison. Almost seems like Joseph's trying to get even with his brothers. No. What Joseph was doing was to see, had his brothers changed? Now some might think, what business was that of Joseph's? Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of, his family here was going through a lot of turmoil. He had been sinned against. His parents had been sinned against. That come back from maybe feedback back there. Oh, actually, I don't know. Had to come from one of the computers anyway. Joseph, it was his responsibility to see to it that his brothers had changed, because his brothers, before this, if they hadn't changed and they were still nasty like this and unrepented for their sins, their eternal welfare wasn't looking too good. Joseph was their brother. He was concerned about that. Joseph probably even had done some changing and growing up. I know he did during the time he was in Egypt. And then, remember when he saw that when he said, okay, you're going to put your brother in prison, and the oldest brother stands up. The one who wanted to kill him. Actually, it was second oldest brother. Thank you. Yeah. And he says, put me in prison. We can't do this. Our dad, this will kill our dad. Put me. And Joseph could see that his brothers had changed, that they were sorry for what they had done to their dad, to him. And then what did he do? He said, I'm Joseph, your brother. And he immediately forgave them. He immediately forgave them. Unconditionally. Then do you remember when Jacob died? Here she is. I thought probably you were going to go where we're getting something to eat, but that's all right. You had late practice, didn't you?
Yeah.
Not a problem. I like giving you a hard time anyway, but not a problem.
No, I
started high school basketball. Oh, good job.
So anyway, we get Joseph. If Joseph's dad dies, the brothers get scared. They think, you know what? The only reason Joseph didn't get revenge on us is because of Dad. Because he missed Dad so much. Now that Dad's gone, ooh. So what they did was they all went to Joseph and they said, you know what, Joseph? Before Dad died, he said that he said that you should that we should come talk to you, and please don't take revenge on us. Dad doesn't want you to do that. And Joseph started to cry. Because Joseph, and the reason Joseph cried was because he thought, I didn't make my forgiveness clear enough. And immediately he said to his brothers, no, I'm going to take, I promised, I said I forgave you, and I did, and I'm going to take care of you and your families. And he assured them again that this was all in the past, and he had forgiven them. So we get a beautiful lesson about forgiveness there. You know, when you think about it, if there was anybody that had a right to hold a grudge and take revenge against somebody, it was Joseph against his brothers. What made Joseph so forgiving? Well, Joseph knew that he was a sinner. He knew that he wasn't innocent in this. God forgave him for his sins, and that's why he was going to heaven. And that's what moves us to forgive others too. When they come and ask, when they come to us and say, I'm sorry. You know, we were talking about this in Bible study today with the ladies. You know, and this is what happens a lot in families. And sometimes, you know, we know what we mean, but let's say it's a lesson that we try to give, and it's good for us to remember. It's good for us to remember that we as families, and actually every relationship we have on this world, actually it works on forgiveness, because we're sinners. We sin against each other. And when we do something wrong against each other and we say, I'm sorry, what do we usually say to somebody? That, like, let's say if you're one of your siblings sins against you and they go, I'm sorry, what do you say?
No.
Well, sometimes, but that's not being forgiven. Sometimes we say that's okay, okay? And we know what that means, but listen to me about this. Sin is never okay. Sin is never okay. So it's better and I think this is something I have to remind myself. Because, like, say when my daughter does something wrong, she'll say, Dad, I'm sorry. And I'll go, that's okay. Sin's not okay. So what should we say? Okay? I forgive you. Jesus forgives you. That's how sin is taken care of. Jesus pays for sin. And because he paid for my sin and yours, that's why we can forgive one another. With that in mind, okay, now we get Joseph's dad dies, and now Joseph and his family stay in Egypt. There was a thing that when Jacob died, they took him back to the land of Canaan and buried him there with his family, where Abraham and Isaac had been buried. Then we get Joseph dies, and Joseph's body is taken back to Canaan, and he's buried there with his family. What we're going to see on here for about 25 minutes, we're going to watch a little bit of, maybe you've seen some of this movie. It's an old movie, but it's a goodie, called The Ten Commandments. And usually they show it on, it's usually like the Sunday before Easter. It's on national TV. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. I used to watch it all the time growing up. When I was growing up, they show it on Easter Sunday night. But anyway, between what we're looking at here, we have 430 years that pass between the lessons we just looked at to now. Joseph's family is in Egypt for 430 years. When we get to this point, we're told this, that there came a Pharaoh, king of Egypt, who no longer remembered Joseph. And by this time, Joseph's family, his relatives, had gotten so big, the Egyptian people got afraid that Joseph's family would overtake the nation. So they turned them into slaves. With that,
Can I use the bathroom really quick?
hustle up. I'll give you a break. You just got here, so. If anybody else has to use facilities, I'd recommend doing it now.